Public Nation? What is up? What is up? If you're watching this on the replay, feel free to double tap that screen for hearts. Feel free to say hi. If you're here live, welcome everybody. Están aquí, hola, bienvenidos desde Arizona. Espero que estén teniendo un día pero súper maravilloso. Les mando besitos a todos, besitos, besitos, besitos. Hi guys, I'm sending you guys all hugs and kisses. So do me a favor, definitely share this out with the peoples. We're gonna catch up with two senators here in Arizona. First and foremost, I do have to give a shout out that she's wearing Democratic blue. What's up? Yes. And it's a woman, so hey, but also not to be left out, I also love that they're both Latino, so I actually want to talk a little bit about the voting process. Welcome, Stuart, your very first time on Periscope. So I'm gonna hand off this camera to Diana, and I'm gonna actually sit. I'm gonna straddle right here. I'm just gonna sit between both of them. Perfect. I love it. Okay, so I want to talk to you guys about Arizona. We're here. I came in from California. I'm so excited that Arizona is such an important state in this election. But one thing I'm noticing, and some Latinos are thinking like, I don't know if I really should vote, if it's gonna matter, or I don't even know where I could find information on where I could vote. So can you guys help me educate them on how easy it is?
Absolutely, you can vote your absent ballotee vote. You can vote by mail, but you have to turn it, you're gonna have to walk it in tomorrow. If you do vote tomorrow, you have to take your ballot, walk it in.
So definitely do not mail it.
Do not mail it. Do not mail it. Awesome, good point. Do not mail it. Or you can go to your poll. If you want to, you can find out through the Secretary of State or Maricopa County elections where to vote.
Even easier, I'm going to tell you, you can whip out your phone and Google it. All you have to do is Google, where do I vote? And it will actually use your location where you're at. It will tell you, I did it for myself in California, even when I was here in Arizona, and I love that Google knew, no, I know you're in Arizona, but your polling place is still back in Cali. So it gave me my polling place, it gave me my sample ballot, you know, the measures and initiatives that are important to me that are actually on the ballot. So that's what I think is great about Google, is using technology in this election, is that se puede hacer en inglés o en español. If you have any questions, you could just Google like, ¿a dónde tengo que ir a votar? O ¿qué tengo que hacer? And I think that's one thing that I really want to see more people know, is that this intimidation process that I feel Trump has been trying to do, where being like, oh, if you're not in line or you don't get there in time, you can't vote, or oh, if you don't have the information, you have to go away. So like, what would you say to people that are a little scared about getting to the polls?
Well, especially Latinos, we have no reason to be afraid. There's so many issues here in Arizona to go out and vote the right way. Our LGBT rights are at risk. Our health insurance is at risk. There's so many things. Our discrimination will be legalized if we vote the wrong way. So there's so many issues in Arizona to get the Latinos motivated to vote, and that's what my message is to all Latinos: get out and vote. We have about 24 hours to decide what this country is going to be headed in.
I love it. So I'm gonna get really cozy with you guys now down here, because now I want to cheesemate. Let's real talk here. So we have one of the most racist sheriffs that I've ever seen coming out of Arizona, and on the ballot right now we have the opportunity to be able to knock him out, turn Arizona blue, and really give the opportunity for someone else to come in and have love Trump hate, if you will, right?
Correct. And he is actually going to lose. Arpaio will lose this election. The amount of
double tap for hearts for that.
The percentage of Latino votes coming out is much higher than in 2012, so he will be defeated. The narcissistic egomaniac will be defeated. And he's like a wicked witch, but a male version.
Bye.
He is going to be gone.
And the campaign is actually called Basta Arpaio, so I want to thank Mucha for all of their work that they've been doing here in Arizona to get rid of him, and he's on his way out.
And see, I think that's something that's really important, is to be able to really discuss the things that we can do together as a community when we stand stronger together. If you will say
Absolutely.
That way.
None of us have to live in fear. This reminds me, what's so interesting about this time period, the only time period which was replicated like this was in 1940, the Nazi regime, which they created fear, and what they did is pit people against people. Mm-hmm. Our country's not based on that. Our country is based on interfacing with other cultures, with each other, and showing etiquette towards one another, and compassion. That's what this country's about. It's not based out of fear.
Well, one thing that you also hit on is the fact that there are other things on this ballot that aren't just about who's going to be president, right? So it isn't just Trump versus Hillary, but it also is a bigger notion in terms of question in terms of I know stuff with marijuana is on the ballot. I know the stuff with college tuition is on the ballot. I know there's so many other things that are on the ballot that are to be discussed, right? So can we discuss a little bit about those issues that are important to Arizona?
Sure, minimum wage is on the ballot, and that's up by about 15 percentage points. That will affect all our young people who are going to college, who are currently going to college. They'll be able to provide for themselves, and they'll be able to pay off their loans back. So the minimum wage, I'm all for it. I voted for it, so did Catherine Miranda.
Right.
It's big in our community.
And Prop 206, the marijuana ballot initiative. That we are low in funding for education, so we'll fund education. But there's so many things that we should have researched with Colorado. Colorado passed their initiative. I don't think we've done that enough. So I'm not really sure about that one yet. We want to be safe here. At the same time, we want to fund education. So that's.
I feel the same way in California because we have that on our ballot as well. And actually, that was the same thing I said, is that I agree with the consensus of where it wants to go to, but I think more research is needed. And the fact that there's no regulation that it's allowed even to be set up, like let's say a marijuana shop could be set up near a school, or that anybody could buy it without needing to ID them. I'm like, okay, that's a little too much for me. Like, that's a little too liberal. So I think that that's one thing with our Democrats that we're finding, is that there's a lot of us that are conservative Democrats, and that's okay. Or there's, Republicans that are now realizing that their values are actually held in our ballot, and that's okay to embrace. Right?
I think another theme is women in leadership roles. And it took a woman to put Trump in a corner. All the 8 other Republican men they could not corner him, and she did it single-handedly within 2 minutes. She absolutely does. And you know what? It's women who's always, throughout history, risen to the occasion. And we need Hillary, she is a woman, of course, to run this country currently. Because currently, right now, she has the best skill set. She has probably the best history of being able to move this country forward.
Well, and also just, it sends a bigger message, especially across the message that Trump has been sending to women and little girls everywhere, that we don't matter. I feel like with her winning, it's finally that last glass ceiling that's being shattered, and saying, not only do we matter, but we're ready to lead, and we're ready to move forward, and we're ready to do it together. Now one thing that I also wanted to talk with you in terms of rights is, and you mentioned it, was LGBT rights, like how important that is as well.
For our country, it's important because you want to feel included. All LGBT, gay, lesbian, transgender want to feel included in this country because they are Americans. That's what separates us from other countries is that we accept people for who they are, and they can live their own identity without living in fear once again.
Well, and when they were telling me, for those of you who don't know, is that you're openly gay, and I think that is something that is to be celebrated, because it goes to show that you aren't going to be bullied, you're not going to be silenced, you're here to also represent part of a community that maybe doesn't have a voice to be heard, but that also doesn't include everyone you are, because I hate it when people just say, oh, well, you're just voting for Hillary because she's a woman. No, I'm not voting for her just because she's a woman, but I am going to celebrate that she is a woman, and I would say the same thing if someone says, oh, you're voting for him just because he's gay or because he represents that. No, that doesn't encompass everything, but that is a part of the fabric of who you are.
Correct. I'm a multidimensional person, and that's what's important, is I can interface with Muslims, I can interface with African American community, Asian community, transgender. In my legislative district, there's 67 languages spoken. Now that's the true American spirit. Everyone has come around from around the world to settle into the state of Arizona, and that's what we're about, living the American dream. And all of us, that's all we want, is the American dream. And that's why voting is so important. Live the American dream, that's our right, and let's respect our right.
Now, go ahead.
Well, with all this said, we've heard so many issues that are in jeopardy. The repercussions is what we have to think about if Trump wins. The number one thing that I'm worried about, again, is our Supreme Court justices. He will immediately change those. There's one up in November, and I believe there's about 3 or 4 in the next 4 or 8 years. Totally controlled by the Supreme Court, that will make the decisions for every issue that we just discussed. So, like I said, we have a handful of hours to get out and vote and get Hillary in there so we can still be a proud country.
So let's recap for those specifically in Arizona, if they're looking to go vote. The polls open tomorrow at
6 a.m.
6 a.m. and they close at
7 p.m.
So as long as you're in line at 7 p.m., despite what Trump has said, you will be allowed to vote. That is legal. That is not cheating. That is actually the way, if he ever had voted maybe before, that's actually how it works. As long as you're in line at 7 o'clock, it is legal. Now, it's the same thing in your particular state. The rules might be different in terms of what time it starts and what time it ends. All you have to do is Google it to find out when your polling place is open and when they close. But again, as long as you're in line, you totally can't vote. Also, it does say on your ballot outside of Arizona as well that as long as your ballot is postmarked by the election day, it'll be counted. But here's the thing, I would highly encourage you and recommend get your ballot done, do it in a way you know that it's going to be counted on that particular day. Now, before I let you go, another big issue that people were talking about was IDs, that people were nervous about. Am I going to get IDs, especially if I'm a part of an Indian tribe, or especially if, I'm going to get hassled? The great thing is if you do early voting today, you don't even need to worry about IDs, right?
Right.
You can just drop off your ballot
Absolutely.
and go.
You just have to sign the outside of the ballot and date it.
And that's it, and then they'll take it. So if you have any other questions, feel free to send me a tweet at XOXOLiza with 2 Z's, please. How can they follow you? Give them your handles.
Miranda for Arizona.
And that's the number 4.
Mesa for Arizona.
Yes. His is Mesa, Arizona, actually.
Oh, Mesa,
Mesa, Arizona. It's in the title. It's in the title. Don't worry. You can tweet them. And, of course, make sure to just Google it, but more important, make sure to just vote it. Tomorrow, we're counting on you guys.
Face it over there to my friend Gerardo, who voted by mail.
Yes,
Okay, so
first
Gerardo,
time.
Before he leaves, Gerardo, this was your first election, right?
Oh yes, first generation Latino studying at Arizona State.
Woo-woo! Where are you from?
I was born here in Phoenix, so
And where's your family from?
we're from Durango, Mexico.
Eso!
Viva Mexico!
So what was it like for you to vote your first time?
It was, I felt that it was necessary to cast my vote this election, just because we need somebody who believes in equal rights and has that compassion in their heart. I don't want Trump to be out there controlling this world.
And now, it wasn't hard, right? Like you just
No,
went
it's
in,
easy.
you circled it, you were done. It wasn't like you had to study for an SAT or
That's it.
yeah, it's pretty easy, you guys. I would challenge you all, anywhere you are in the U.S., grab a friend, head to the polls. If you can, vote early. I did it yesterday. I went with my mom, then I flew here. If you're here in Arizona, you may see me and Michelle. We're knocking on people's doors. We're trying to get as many of you guys out there. If you have any questions, feel free to tweet me. And like I said, Google is there for you. En inglés y en español, si tienen preguntas de dónde pueden ir a votar, nomás lo tienen que googlear. Y ahí les dicen dónde está, a qué hora se abre todo, y también les enseñan para qué pueden votar. So we're here for you. Just know that. I love you all. I'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Yay!
Good job.
Perfect.